Spartans to Halo Book Club, a part of Evolved, your home for Halo. Halo Book Club goes beyond the video games and covers Halo's extended media lore from the novels, short stories, comic books, and more. I'm your host today, David, and with me is once again the lovely Ian.
Hey there, David.
Hello, Ian. We're doing pretty well. I mean, we had a big break, but we're getting through these audiobooks. I'm quite happy. I know we've one more after this, and I think we're up to date.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, by the time we get to that one, there'll probably be another one, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
More content.
Yes, more content for us is better. The book club we're doing today is Hippocratica, which is kind of a mad name. I meant to look up where that came from. I'm only really familiar with the Hippocratic Oath as a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, but I suppose it's kind of loosely ties into the subject matter of the story. So we will get into that. Social stuffs. If you're new to the show, guys, welcome. Halo Book Club is obviously part of Evolved. We have a whole host of other different shows. Our main show is Podcast Evolved. We have a Mission Debrief, which is an older show. Builder Blocks. Here we do work with HBC Pro Talk. There's Halo TV Plus, which is still kind of ongoing. It's almost wrapped up. As well as Halo Headlines. You can learn more about each of our show on our website, which is evolvedhalo.com. That's up to date, isn't it?
That does work. HaloEvolved.co is technically the primer. Yes, I attempted to get them all. Halo Evolved is our name, so I tried to get everything to match, but both work. Both work just fine.
Perfect. So we are Halo Podcast. That's all you need to know.
That's right.
If you're already a fan, please rate us and leave us a review. We love all our feedback. Thank you very much. I got a recent feedback of an older show about one apparently I was eating in. I felt pretty bad about that one, Ian, when I saw that message. I was like, oh man. I don't think I ever did it, but obviously I must have.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure which episode that was in reference to. So
it was an older one, I think, right? It was
an older one, so who knows?
Who knows? Sorry about that. If you're that listener, thank you for the feedback. Yes, I apologize.
Yes. David, we're not eating while recording apparently anymore.
Yeah. No. I will drink coffee, but that's about as much as I.
Well, yeah, you got to drink coffee.
100%. Also, let's take this moment to thank our patrons for your support. So, guys, thank you so much. You should be seeing these audiobooks. I have the first of the series scheduled, so they should be dropping every now and again, regularly for our patrons first. And so thank you so much. So once again, you guys are amazing. If you're not subscribed, our patrons get a variety of exclusive rewards such as early episodes. We aren't actually doing them. You get them early. You get some unique swag, our own podcast soundtrack, and our newest reward, which is an exclusive show, I Would Have Been Your Podcast. We've seen our newest reward, but we've done enough of these now that it's not new anymore, right? It's an extra podcast.
Yeah, we're on season 2 now. It's been a minute since I've recorded.
I love it.
Yeah, well, it's I guess year 2, however you want to put that. But it's been a minute since we recorded the last episode. Been quite busy, but yeah, still chugging along, and we'll have some more episodes to air. Hopefully, not too long.
Excellent. So stay tuned for that. That is a Patreon exclusive show, like we mentioned. It covers all off-topic kind of things, as well as sometimes Halo. You can head over to patreon.com/HaloEvolve to learn more. And finally, if you want to listen to Audible, the application or site, company, person, they obviously have all of the Halo novels on there now. They have thousands of other books, programs, all sorts of different things. If you want to go check it out, there's a URL for a trial that you can do, and it will help us a little bit, which is audibletrial.com/podcastevolved. If you want to learn more and start your free trial today. Excellent stuff. Ian. Hippocratica. This is a weird one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I didn't quite realize what we were talking. I mean, I kind of knew what we were talking about going in. I tried to be as blind to the story as possible, and halfway through,
I had no idea.
Yeah, and halfway through, I picked up on it. Oh, that's who this is, and it's such a random.
Did you know who it was?
I didn't at first. As they explained it, I'm thinking like this is ringing a bell, and then when I went to Halopedia, obviously I confirmed who it was. Yeah,
because I was halfway through this, and I'm like, this is linking to so many things. this can't just be like a one-off random character. There's got to be something going on here.
Yes, always.
So it's told kind of weirdly. So I'll give you some of the info. So the author is 343i. Now it actually on Halopedia. It does list Alex Wakeford as the author, as written by, but I don't know if it's like narrated or did he actually write it. I'm not sure of the source of it, but it's there. The publisher is obviously 343. It's in audio and PDF format on their website. They put it up on YouTube. It's for free. The release date was the 5th of February 2024. We shall not comment on today's date. The length of time is about 25 minutes. So this is one of the lengthier ones. But I think it flows pretty quickly. The summary is, it's 2560. Adam Andrews, the CEO of an interstellar corporation, in brackets, it's Opticon, or Opticare, sorry. No, not Opticare, Opticon. Optican. I knew I was saying that wrong. Optican. Which immediately sparked my brain going like, I know this, but I wasn't sure from where, but it was pretty, but I got there in the end. So he's the CEO of an interstellar corporation. He remunerates upon the Covenant invasion of Arcadia, facing certain death until the timely arrival of the UNSC Spirit of Fire. So he's kind of dictating his memoirs almost like to a audio engineer for the first part of the story. So I was really kind of like thinking, oh no, I hope this isn't 25 minutes of a guy reminiscing, but it's not. It's like the first third. It's just him giving a couple of details in that format, because it was kind of weird to listen to. What did you make of like how Alex did this?
Yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, I tried my best to come into it blind, so it was a little bit of a challenge to kind of just keep up with like bouncing back and forth. But I mean, Arcadia is the first, what is it, whatever the name of it is, the first attack on Arcadia in the lore was the sort of the time frame that they were bouncing back to. So that was a well-established event. So that was pretty easy to follow. But yeah, like I actually understood that part pretty well. The part where we're bouncing back to the current quote unquote current time, I was a little bit lost at times on exactly what the heck's going on here. Yeah,
the same. It was kind of weird, the second story that takes place in this near the end of it. But so anyway, this character, he first appeared in Halo Wars, the game, as a civilian in Arcadia City. There's an achievement associated with him called the Real Winner. You get it by saving this character and escorting them to a cargo ship to be evacuated. It's actually on the harder side of the achievements. I don't think I have it. This character dies in one hit, so it's kind of hard. But what I find interesting is that they tie this achievement back directly into his character's backstory, in that him being rescued by Forge. What you didn't realize in the game, but the kid refers to him as a magician because he rescues him and says, "Hey, do you want to see a trick?" And he rescues this kid from the rubble, and the kid kind of knows that he has like an arm patch on him on his shoulder with a playing card, like the Ace of Spades, all hinting at John Forge. So it's kind of cool. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was it was definitely an interesting tie-in there. Maybe we'll get into it at the end, but it was a little bit frustrating as you realize kind of exactly what we're talking about, that this tie-in feels a little bit too tight with what we already know. It's not really building out any on the Halo universe at all. It's sort of just like more well defining an event we're already aware of. I mean, a very particular event, even that. So, that part was like, I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting little tie-in. I think Aaron has mentioned this in previous episodes. It's suffering a little bit from the whole I can't remember the
small universe.
Yeah, where it's like there's like it's like this is a whole galaxy of colonies and planets and people, and there's like it always revolves around these like 12 people that and these like 3 worlds. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. We this entire all of Arcadia was attacked, and we happened to be focusing the story in on the very literally the very moment and point on the planet where we've already played a video game at.
Perfect. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that doesn't really add anything other than we got a last name.
Yeah.
And
exactly, and it ties them into his reminiscences are just like, okay, being a kid in a crisis, and then like getting shipped off to his aunt and uncle, raised there, going to college, taking over the company because his parents obviously died and obviously bequeathed the company to him. So it's Optican, which is like a massive healthcare company across multiple colonies. So they ring a bell because they're all over Halo 3 ODST. In Numa Bassa, those are the health packs you're picking up. It's Optican, healthcare on demand, that the superintendent calls out multiple times.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of cool. That was a nice kind of linking that company in there.
Yeah. I totally did not pick up on that until I was going through Halopedia and I saw it like, oh, yeah, okay, now I remember. That's, again, such as just a random link that we've now linked Halo 3 ODST and their health packs to this one guy who happened to be the kid who got rescued on Arcadia in, was it like Mission 4 of Halo Wars? Okay. Like, that's a very tight link there. The kid you rescue just happens to be the kid of a CEO of a company. Okay. Or I guess the owner of the company, right? Maybe, but
yeah,
either way, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
but either way, yeah.
Jumping ahead then to where it actually gets a little bit interesting. It's the current day timeline of 2560. He has, he's on Arcadia. He's talking about, okay, companies have come back to glass planets because there's loads of business opportunities. He's going to the area where I'm pretty sure the mission took place with the head of the Scarab shooting a big beam across you. Can't remember the name of the mission, but that's in Halo Wars. So he's there. He's selling, essentially trading to Norfell, who we know is a Kigar trader in various other books. She pops up in Kelly Gay's stories, as well as I think she came from Mortal Dictata originally, so she was in Kilo 5 as just essentially a merchant, a black market merchant. Cool character actually, but she's just kind of mentioned here. So she's been traded this Scarab beam, this mega huge Scarab beam, in payment for something that was delivered to Adam that he picked up from them, that is revealed later on as something I'd never heard of, but it is in the world. It's called Rumble Drug. So it's like a drug essentially that these rebels used to kind of combat Spartans. So it literally supercharges the human, but then you're pretty much dead afterwards. So you go crazy, you become like pain resistant, really strong reflexes, and then you suffer massive mental problems and kind of, I don't know, it became seriously out of use when I realized that you might turn on your own people more often than fight your enemy. So it's kind of cool as a concept, but it's kind of been linked in a few different places as being like, okay, this, like in the events of the Heart of Mithlolian, the AI suggests to the ODST Sergeant to use a Waverly class augmenter. That's the way it's kind of termed. And it's termed like the same here as well. So it's a cocktail of a bunch of drugs that at the time he was going to die anyway. So it says, you have to take this yourself. I can't give it to you. This will help you essentially survive more. It's also kind of referenced somewhere else as well, where it's there in the Cole Protocol. Apparently a character was said they used the kind of drug because it's not called a rumble drug, but it's described in the same process of you take this and this is going to happen to you. So that's kind of cool. So the interesting kind of point is, okay, the trade is made. Adam has these illegal drugs that are not really used anymore. Kind of hard to find. He's a healthcare provider. He seems, from the perspective of the story being told, in dealing in good faith with his company, trying to help people claim back their planets and stuff like that have been glassed. Why he wants this drug, we don't know. And then on top of that, a mega team are thrown into the mix and they take out the Kigar. Well, I mean, like, they annihilate the Kigar traders. So that was actually kind of cool. It's pretty awesome. They steal the beam and leave the kind of drugs go. And that's kind of the gist of the story. Kind of interesting enough, but it doesn't seem to really go anywhere yet.
I mean, it's just a one-off story, so I'm skeptical we'll see anything more of this in anything significant. Maybe it'll get mentioned at some point in the future.
Most of these stories are kind of one-offs.
Yeah, but it's an interesting story. I thought it was it's written fine, well enough. It's not a bad story. I just, like I mentioned before, everything just seems so tightly tied together. Like I said, you're basically explaining the backstory of the kid that you can rescue in like Mission 4 of Halo Wars, and then he just happens to be the kid of a CEO of this what I'm forgetting their name.
Optican on the bed.
There you go. Yeah, Optican.
You have to say the full thing.
Right. Yes, my bad. but he just happens to be the CEO of the company, and then you reunite them with his parents in the mission. So like then there's a whole story of, well, oh yeah, by the way, the parents actually died when they evacuated. I don't think that was in the game. It's been a long time.
That's weird. The way it tells it here is that he never saw the parents again.
Is it? Because that's how.
Yeah.
Okay. As I
have no idea how the game works, but like in this one, it is he gets rescued by Forge, and then it just kind of mentions that he doesn't see his parents again. His parents never found him; they lost him.
Yeah.
Because he fucked off to go play by himself because he was bored.
Yeah, because in the and I was kind of confused about that too, and I actually went back into the history of the Halopedia page for him because I was like, what did this say before? And yeah, he was. According to that, all we knew at the time was his name was Adam, and you can save him in that mission and reunite him with his mother. That's was the entirety of the information that existed before Hippocratica came out. And yeah, so I guess, and they kind of changed that a little bit so that, yeah, I'm not really sure if he did meet his parents, and then they got separated right after that, and then they died, or we're retconning that for whatever reason, but. Yeah, it's just they happen to die, so he happens to like basically become the heir of the company, and he when he grows up becomes the CEO or of the company running the company, and then he just happens to have this he happens to be the CEO of this company who's making these med packs who we see in Halo 3 ODST. That's fine. It's a little bit of world building, I guess. But then in the story, like he goes back to Arcadia, back to another like a location of another mission of Halo Wars with Omega Team, who were in Halo Wars.
I think the important thing is to realize that the time of this release was with the Spirit of Fire content update release.
I know why. Yeah.
So they're tying everything in together. It's like, okay, let's pull Halo Wars missions and characters and teams.
Yeah, I get that. I get tying them in a little bit. It just like I said, it's tied really tight between like 25. What is that like? It is because it's like what 20. What is Arcadia? 25, 31.
25, 31.
So
like
25, 31 to 25, 52 to 25, 60 are all like just like tied like just that rope is very taut between those 3 points. So it was just that part was like we didn't need to I like the little bits of like, hey, by the way, this mission you were playing, this event that happened here, let's add a little bit to it. And I didn't feel like we're adding anything. We're just linking stuff together. We're not adding new events or adding little new little. We're not world building. We're world connecting. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I get you. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay. And then Norfell comes into it. It's like, okay, yes, now we've tied that in too. Okay, great. Like we've been introduced to 0 new characters except I think Dan, his I guess his husband. And is that the only new character we get?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we gave one character we already knew a last name, a little bit of a backstory, and give him a, what would you call that? Front story? I don't know. Whatever you call that.
Front story.
Well, I don't know. Whatever you call that. So you give him that, and then you give him a husband. His name's Dan. We know basically nothing else. And then Norfell comes in, and then Omega Team comes in, and it's all just nice, pretty bow tied together. It's like, okay. I know why they brought in those characters. It's just I wish we would add a little bit more to the world, but that's okay. I'll stop complaining now.
So overall, I think it was an okay story. Some interesting kind of links there. Spirit of Fire stuff is great. We like it. Bring more Spirit of Fire stuff back, which this kind of does, I suppose. But I know it's fine. Omega Team are cool. We know they're alive, so that's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Omega Team is obviously linking also in the Halo TV show because the original Omega Team consistent members was Leon, Robert, August, who are mentioned here, but also Vanek, Riz, and Kai. So Vanek, Riz, and Kai are obviously spun off into Silver Team for the TV show.
Did we know that before?
We did know that before, but only, let's say, as of February this year. They brought out a cannon fodder and went backwards and retroactively said, hey, FYI, these people were also on this team and then spun out.
I completely missed that. Okay, so I was like, man, I feel like I would have known that before had we had
I
that been
vaguely
something.
remember going back or when they started talking about like, okay, who are Riz, Kai, Vanek, that they were like, okay, they are actually canonical members of say, whatever the golden timeline is that you just made different in the silver timeline.
Yeah, okay.
Timelines are fun.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all right. That's an interesting little bit, I suppose.
I think they might be mentioned somewhere else. I can't remember. Anyways, loads of Mega Team stuff. Go check it out if you're interested.
Yes.
Spartan 2s, we love them. It's all good. I don't have anything else to say, so I think we're kind of done here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like I said, this doesn't really add much of anything. It kind of gives you a little bit of what Optican is doing on Arcadia in 2560. It's 2560, right? Is the correct?
2560 is the current year of the story, yeah.
So I mean, I guess it's interesting in that we don't get any mention of. Well, I guess we get a little bit of a mention of the created and all that, but it don't really establish anything that's going on in the universe, right?
Not really. It talks about the fact that Norfell is no longer being hassled by the created or the banished, so it makes you imply that their fighting is done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That they're like, okay, now we're released, we can go and do nefarious deals again or whatever.
Yeah, I just like I think we're still kind of just waiting on like what is the status of the galaxy and humanity, like Earth and all that. Like unless I totally missed it, I feel like we still haven't really gotten a clear answer on kind of
no, not really,
where we're at.
Not clear.
Yeah. So I guess that's interesting, and that's like, okay, well, it's a little tidbit of 2560 outside of Zeta Halo that we haven't got much of that. So that's it's like you said, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, shout out to our patrons. Thank you once more. You guys are amazing. You're really, really good. So go check our website, for the rest of our websites and podcasts and all the other things that you want to know. It's really amazing. You can put a lot of hard work in over there. Go check it out. I've been your host today, David. And that's been Ian.
Evolved.